You're tuned into the Believe in Bengals show with Solomon Wilcots and Adam Pacman Jones.
Hello, everyone. This is the Believe in Bingo podcast delivered by 828 Logistics. He is Adam Pacman Jones. I'm Solomon Wilcots. And Adam, look, Cincinnati Bengals are now 2-2. We get to go back and talk about the game that we saw on Thursday night as the Bengals come away a winner. 27-15 was the final over the Miami Dolphins. And the things that stood out to me was the performance of Joe Burrow and the offense, because we took the very first possession of the game and scored a touchdown going right down the field for the second straight week. We did it against the Jets, did it again against the Dolphins on Thursday night.
We started fast. We've been talking about that on the show, Solly. Starting fast. They started really fast. Joe go in there and punch it on in there for 5 yards. And then T Hig, he get one early on one of the best corners in the league too. So as you can see, they was doubling, chased the whole game. But we started fast, and we're getting all the details, but we started fast, and it's always good when you can start fast and get points early.
Look, I think the offense has got hot. Let's face it. Look, we started off 0-2. It's not how you want to start. But you talk about this often, that if you break the season up in quarters, right, 4 games, we're 2-2 after 4 games. It's not where you prefer to be. You like to be 3-1 or 4-0. But the fact that the Bengals been able to turn it around, what did you see in this Dolphins game Thursday night to lead you to believe that we're going to be getting more of what we saw in that Thursday night game?
Just how up-tempo the offense was, how he spreaded the ball around, how we took advantage of a lot of things that even the play calling, the half roll when he threw the ball back with Tyler Boyd coming back across the field. You could tell they're getting in rhythm and syncing together as a team. My biggest thing was the 63-yarder field goal. Oh my God. This is amazing, man. I haven't seen nothing like this in my time of playing football, where a kicker kicking 63-yarders with confidence and had probably 5 more yards on it.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Look, I'm just glad we got the snap and the hold right. Hey, but look, there's no doubt if you snap it and you hold it, Evan McPherson is going to knock it through. What impressed me, to be honest with you, is that we took care of the football. We didn't turn it over. Joe Burrow has now gone 7 of his last 8 games with 0 turnovers. Did have 2 touchdown passes in the Thursday night game against a really good Miami Dolphins defense. But to come out of a game, if you told me the Cincinnati Bengals offense, they're not going to turn it over, I'll tell you we're going to win 90% of those games.
Yeah, and I would totally agree with you too. The first, it started off all crazy, but after we go back and look at it now on the first quarter of the season, we're still tied to be in first place after this week, Solid. So it's not bad as what some people making it to be. Me and you've never been in the panic, but I think it's finna start. You know how they do. They come in bulks. Guys are getting in football shape. They're feeling back to normal. You know what I mean? It's been 4 games. Our preseason's over with now. It's time to rock and roll, baby.
See, you and I, we're used to being in a boat where there's water coming in the boat. But we've plugged a few holes in our lifetime. We've seen water leaking into the boat, didn't panic, because at 0-2, water was leaking into the boat. Let's face it. And had we fallen to 0-3 against the Jets, the water would have been coming in pretty quickly. And you would have seen us starting to get on the life vest a little bit. And started, wouldn't have panicked, but we'd have been putting on our life vest. And thank goodness we didn't have to do that. And the Cincinnati Bengals are playing so much better offensively. I think they're much more organized. There's still one area with this team because we average below 3 yards per carry in the run game, 24 carries for Joe Mixon. They're not getting him back to the line of scrimmage. He averaged, I think, 2.7 yards per carry. We got to get this run game going. We got to get it going
real quick because it's going to get cold. We got to be able to run the ball with Joe. This is no if and buts about it because we are not going to be able to sit back there and throw the ball 70 plus times when it get to November and December. So we got to figure out what's going on up front, man. I think they did do better in the passing game when it came to blocking, but the running game the blocking was not there.
Hey, look, you mentioned it. With all the double coverage that we see taking place on Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, who we're going to talk about in our next segment, obviously making plays. There's no doubt that T. Boyd is a playmaker. This guy has an energy and the juice and the toughness that I think lends itself to our offense being tough, and when it comes to the lack of our ability to run the ball. And I'm liking what Hayden Hurst brings to this offense at the tight end position every single week. So tell me what you're seeing from Hayden Hurst.
He's tough. He's physical. He's a football player. He's one of those guys, when you look at him, you say, man, that guy right there, he's just a football player. He's a really good football player. And, man, he shows it week in and week out. The tough competitiveness this week, he can do it all. He can block, he can catch, and he played with that fire. You know what I mean? He's excited out there. You can tell he played with a lot of emotions.
Listen, he's a former first-round pick with the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
This kid played in the SEC at South Carolina. Came out a highly graded first-round pick type player. And I believe that he's already won over Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is comfortable going to Hayden Hurst on third down especially. He had 3 catches in the Thursday night game against the Miami Dolphins. He's a chain mover. Every time he catches the ball, he's running over and through defenders to move the chains and hit that first down marker. I think, like T. Boyd, I think he gives our offense the ability to complete passes over the short intermediate part of the field. And that when they do catch it, he's a tough guy to tackle and get on the ground.
And with all that being said, that's why the running game should be better, because they're not even filling up the box. You know what I'm saying? They got to double somebody, so we should be running the ball a little bit better, man. And we got to figure that out. But hey, Hurst is a football player, and he's a damn good football player too.
Time now to talk about, that's right, the Performer of the Week, brought to you by the wonderful people at Eli Sports Bar and Grill. And, of course, our Performer of the Week, Adam Jones, is none other than, we got to start calling him the Playmaker, and that is T. Higgins, because T was putting in that work, had his first 100-yard receiving game of the season on Thursday night.
Oh, man, did he put on the show? I love it. Like he said, I called him out. I'm like, yo, T, you doing your thing. He's like, man, I gotta answer when my number is called. We all got playmakers over here. So, man, I'm excited for T, man. He is playing at a high rate right now. It's re-up time. It's re-up time, and he's gonna be very happy at the end of this year, because he is gonna get paid.
Yeah, T is eligible for a new contract at the end of the 2022 season, as you well know. He's playing under his rookie contract. That's collectively bargained. After you're done with the 3rd year on a rookie contract, you're eligible to negotiate a new contract, even though you still have 1 year left on that 4-year deal. You do not want him to be the lame duck playing on the final year of a 4-year rookie deal. That's why you tend to sign talented rookies who you drafted, who've come through for you, like T. Higgins. You want to sign them after that 3rd season. He was targeted 9 times, Adam, in the Miami Dolphins game, 7 catches, 124 yards, and a 56-yard beautiful touchdown, beating one of the top cornerbacks in our league, and Xavier Howard, on a 56-yard rainbow from Joe Burrow. Talk to me about what you saw in that play, and what is it about T. Higgins that allows him to beat one of the best cornerbacks and all-pro and Xavier Howard?
I think the best thing about T is his separation when he sees the ball. He's very good with his hands. So if you ain't right there, like smacking his hip and running with him, he's so long that he can like push your hip or and get a little bit of separation. It don't seem like a lot. And once you get that separation, you get a chance to make plays. But he is unbelievable once the ball is up in the air as far as creating separation. Definitely with the deep balls. You can go back to last year. He is really good with his hands of a quick little touch that get him feet or two away from the defender where he can use his length to go catch the ball. But he is playing at a high level right now, man.
T. Higgins, our performer of the week. That's right.
Yes.
Brought to you by Eli Sports Bar and Grill. We have not had a player like this for the Cincinnati Bengals since our guy Slim, since Chris Henry, right?
Yes.
That kind of when I'm even, I'm leaving.
I'm leaving.
His long stride, his catch radius, because he can go up and grab it, and he can track the ball. I mean, Chris Henry was one of the absolute best. I had him in the category of Randy Moss.
Yes.
That's where T. Higgins, I'm telling you right now, his explosive ability down the field, and I think even the best defenders are finding they can be with him all the way up until the ball arrives. And that's when he separates to make a play on the ball. We saw him do it in the Super Bowl. We saw him do it again in this Thursday night game on that 56-yard touchdown catch.
Big time play T. Big money T. Big play T. Keep doing it, man. We watching you and you putting on the show for us. We got our popcorn ready.
So I'm gonna tell you what I saw. When I went, you and I were there the same day. We went over to Cincinnati Bengals training camp this summer. And I got to tell you, I came away from the practice. There was a couple of players I was impressed with, but the one player that, because when you watch practice, some people come to work and they're very intentional about how they're performing in practice. Yeah. I tend to understand the energy of guys who really are about putting in that work when they're at practice. And I came away saying, man, T. Higgins looked better in year number 3 than he did in year number 2. His shoulders are bigger. He's filled in that frame. He's stronger. And you know this.
And he got his weight down. His weight looked really good right now. You can tell how he's fast. He's back. He's back.
Well, the Pittsburgh Steelers put a hit on him week 1. Then he took another hit from the Cowboys, and this guy just continued to keep bouncing back. You and I both know most wide receivers tapping out, man, when they're getting tagged like that. So he's been tested in that sense, and I think he's passed it, the physicality test with flying colors.
Yeah, and like, who don't want to play when you got all of these guys on the Bengals roster right now? Like, I don't want to miss a game. You know what I mean? I want to enjoy this. This is a fun time. This is a great team, and they are playing at a high level, regardless of what the records say. They know what type of caliber team they are. You know what I mean?
So that's why I want to ask them, why the slow start? Because we talking about all this talent we got. We know this is a talented team. So, Adam, I'll ask you, why the slow start then? Why did it take this long to get cooking on offense?
Well, you got to go back and look at everything. Joe had surgery a week before the first game. They really didn't play.
At the beginning of training camp, he had surgery. At the beginning of August,
August, a week, 3 weeks before the first game. They only played 2 preseason games. My point is, like, it take time to gel. They didn't play no preseason, and they just came out, So I think it's going to take a little time. So I think Joe is back, though. Joe is playing Joe football. He is back. The receiving core looked really good. This line we got to get a little bit more physical, because we're going to need to run the ball when they get cold.
Man. Hey, so here's my point. Joe Burrow said this is the most time that he's ever had to throw the ball against the Miami Dolphins since he's come into the National Football League. He was sacked only once in the game. The Miami Dolphins came in averaging 20 pressures per game, 4th best in the NFL. There was only 13 pressures on Joe Burrow in the Thursday night game, sacked only 1 time. He did have the 2 touchdown passes and led the team to 3 offensive touchdowns, tying their season high for offensive touchdowns in a single game this season. They had 3 against the Jets, 3 again against the Miami Dolphins. So he was well protected. We got to take a break. We're coming back right here on the Believe in Bengals podcast, delivered by 828 Logistics. This has been our Performance of the Week segment. Adam, look, this defense for the Cincinnati Bengals, to me, I think has been the most consistent part of our game every single week, other than maybe late in that Dallas game when we could have just held Cooper Rush from getting that game-winning drive. I think this Bengals defense has brought it every single week. And you know how I know they brought it this week? Man, 2 picks by Von Bell.
Yes.
And the fact that Tyreek Hill was coming to town talking trash, he had his 160 yards, but I'll give him all them yards if we can keep him out of the end zone. Cincinnati Bengals only allowed one touchdown the entire game against a Miami Dolphins team that's been cooking against everybody else.
Oh my God! You said Von Bell. He was all over the place. The 2 interceptions, the 2 ball deflection, 4 tackles. It was an unbelievable defensive day. The one thing I came in saying last week was, as long as we don't give up the deep ball, we'll be all right. They did get the one that Tyreek got, but for the most part, I think we kept everything in front of us and played downhill. But Lewis doing a great job with second half adjustments as far as putting guys in the right spot. So kudos to Lou and the defensive gang over there. But Von Bell, man, you played a hell of a game, man. Keep going.
Von Bell was a difference maker. We got,
yes.
I think, two of the best safeties in the league. I would not trade our safeties, Jesse Bates and Von Bell, for anybody else in the NFL. I'm just telling you that, right? That's how much I like both of these guys. I hope we keep this tandem together. But I want you to help our viewers to understand what Lou Anarumo is doing. When you play cover 2-man, you have 2 safeties deep, you're playing man underneath. And when you got guys like Jalen Waddle came into the Thursday night game averaging 100 yards receiving per game, and a guy like Tyreek Hill came in Thursday night game also averaging 100 yards receiving per game. If you're going to go press man-to-man on those guys, you want to have help over the top. 2-man is probably the best coverage you can use when you got 2 threats that can break your back on any given play. Talk to us about how 2-man helps our corners and why our safeties can lay in wait. And when Tua tried to get one over the top, Von Bell was sitting there waiting, rotating over the top of Tyreek Hill.
So 2-man is a shell coverage, but the corners and the nickel guys are going to play inside leverage and jump anything that's really coming inside. You know, if they're cutting the split down, you got to be a little careful there. But, you know, if they go deep, that you should have some kind of help back there. There's no way they should catch a go ball, a post ball. Right. Your job, my job as the cornerback or the nickel is to protect inside leverage. The hardest play for me is probably the 7 route, I would say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
From a cut
the slot.
split.
From the slot.
Yeah, from the slot. Slot or cut split. But yeah, you know, you got help. And I think Lou did a great job of letting them know, like, y'all are not gonna beat us going deep.
Yeah.
And I don't think Miami Dolphins is a team that want to dink and dunk the ball the whole game. They want to take shots. They like to play action. So we was well prepared. Well prepared.
How about this? This is how you know we were well prepared. And I like you breaking down what cover 2-man really is and how it goes away to taking away those deep balls. Because the Cincinnati Bengals held the Miami Dolphins to 2 of 10 on 3rd down, 0 for 1 on 4th down. So when you can hold a team that, remember, that put up close over 500 yards total offense, right, against the Baltimore Ravens, 6 touchdown passes against the Baltimore Ravens. And when you can, they lit up the Buffalo Bills, let's remember, and you can keep them to only converting twice on 10 third down plays. And when they go for it on 4th down, you send them packing back over to the bench. Lou Anarumo, I'm telling you right now, my man, you're hitting in that elite. He's playing chess. Everybody else is playing chess.
Yes, he is. And he is up there at the top right now. He is at the top, at the top, at the top. The things that he's doing to change up the first half and second half, it's brilliant by our coach. And the way he played with the safeties, he got 2 really good safeties. So when you got these 2 good safeties that know how to disguise and do different things, it's hard for quarterbacks. And it's easier for us to play as a group when you got them guys back there that know how to disguise and make things look different to the quarterback.
Dolphins offense scored only 1 touchdown in the Thursday night game. The stingy Cincinnati Bengals defense making plays in the secondary against a home run hitting offense with guys like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle on the field and Tua Tagovailoa throwing BBs down the field. Adam, there was a lot of news circulating after the injury to Tua Tagovailoa in the Cincinnati Bengals game on Thursday night at Paycor Stadium. Josh Tupou sacks him. He goes to the ground. And again, 4 days after hitting the back of his head in the Buffalo Bills game, it happens again in the Thursday night game against the Cincinnati Bengals. And it wasn't pretty. This was very stunning visually for a lot of NFL fans. He was taken to the hospital. He did later fly back with the team, was found to be okay. But now the league is thinking about changing some of its concussion protocols. I ask you, after hitting his head 1 week before in the game against the Bills, should he have even been playing in the Thursday night game?
I don't think he should have played. And, you know, it's a sticky situation when you're talking about guys and injuries. That was a bad situation. I feel bad for him. I hope he's okay. I've had C3, C4 neck surgery, and that thing's scary, man. You can't play with neck injuries. Just you gotta
head or neck. Head or neck, right?
Head or neck. You know what I mean? You got to think about the future. But this it was sad. You know, I think the whole stadium was quiet when this happened. So shout out to Tua. I hope he's okay. But I definitely don't think he should have played.
Yeah, and the reason why I agree with you that I don't think he should have played either, remember, it was just on Sunday. Thursday's 4 days later. He's playing in the game. And in that Sunday game against the Bills, he hit the back of his head. He tried to get up and run to the huddle. He literally collapsed. He was wobbly. He was more than woozy. He was wobbly. And listen, I'm not a doctor, but if that's not a sign of a concussion, you try to get up, run to the huddle, you nearly collapse. You got the noodle legs, right? So that to me is why he shouldn't have been played. The league has agreed because on Saturday, they announced that they are now in agreement to revise and update their concussion protocols. The independent neurologist who was at the Dolphins game against the Bills, who okayed for Tua to go back into the game because he went back into that game, has been relieved of his duties. And this guy is not a guy that worked for the Dolphins. He worked independently, hired by the league. And the NFL was not happy that based on his findings that he sent Tua back into that game. But what's more, now people are putting eyeballs on the league because the league should have did something to maybe not even allow Tua to play 4 days later against the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, it's a tough situation with all the head injuries and all the CTE, everything that's going on when it comes to head or neck injuries. You got to get that right. You can't mess that up. You get what I'm saying? So sorry for the doctor, but he made a bad decision, which, you know, sometimes.
Hey, listen, I would just say this, and this is not, I don't want to make light of the situation. Some jobs you don't get to make mistakes. Like if I'm playing in the NFL secondary, my mistake is the other team scores a touchdown, everything gonna be okay. Maybe I might get fired if I let that happen too many times. But if you're an airplane pilot, if you're a doctor, hey, bro, I'm going to need you to be perfect today. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, Adam? I'm just saying.
Yes.
Just saying.
You ain't lying. I need you to be right.
I'm going to need you to not make no mistakes, bro, okay? Sometimes you got to be perfect at your job. I just named a couple. Okay, yeah. Where you don't get to flub this up. We want you to continue to join us on the Believe in Bengal podcast delivered by 828 Logistics. We want you to continue to join us right here on Valley Sports Ohio, channel 43 on Spectrum Cable. This has been a wonderful, wonderful show. I want to thank our very own Adam Pacman Jones for hanging out with me, talking Cincinnati Bengals football. 2-2, getting ready to be 3-1. Continue to join us on the Believe in Bengal podcast delivered by 828 Logistics. Thank you for joining us, everyone.